Welcome again. Yet another very popular principle, VRIO analysis. Actually, this came in 1980s at a time where the economy of the world was pretty much booming, where the world economy was, improving, expanding rapidly. So 40 30 years ago theory. But let's check the validity of this particular analysis even today. Actually, the answer is yes. So that's why it's there in our learning. So the first up, what is VRIO analysis? That's in a nutshell: value, rarity, imitability, organization. So in VRIO analysis, what we check is technically the internal value of the organization. There are, the principles that look at the external aspects of the organization, like the pestle, or maybe the internal and external both, like the SWOT. So this focuses mostly on the internal aspects, internal quality, internal resources of the organization. That's the word, resources. Whatever the plans that the organization is having at hand, does it have the sufficient resource that can give it the competitive advantage? That's what the VRIO analysis is all about. So the four things that we learned: value, rarity, imitability, organization. That's the purpose of it. And what are they checking? Things like this. Some things are tangible, some are intangible, like material, financial capacity, human resource, patents, machinery, But then the intangibles are there, like the cost advantage, people skills. Do they, or at least some of them, give the company the capacity to stay ahead of the competition, be better than them? Can they get a competitive advantage of it? Take a look at the Panasonic. Earlier this used to be National, then later it became the National Panasonic. Now it's just the Panasonic, one of the world's highest value electronic companies, for its durability and the quality. It's a Japanese product from the Matsushita Electronics company. Not exactly popular as much as Sony. Sony leads the way. So Panasonic could never overtake Sony in terms of the visibility and the popularity of the product, because Sony had the bigger numbers as well as a bigger portfolio in products. National or the Panasonic didn't go there. So technically, Panasonic could not compete with Sony in terms of popular value. That means the value that I consider as that a company should be having. So I may prefer a Sony over a Panasonic, perhaps. But then, what should Panasonic do? All right, we don't have that value element, but there could be some other things, right? So what should I do? I should go back to the drawing board and identify areas of value that I have better than Sony. Some of the Panasonic products could be better than Sony. I don't know, but they could be. So Panasonic should be propagating those products more, right? That's what they do. This is why we do the VRIO analysis. So if the answer is something like no, what do? Go back and identify, reassess your values to identify what resource gives them the better advantage than the Sony. That's the thing. But Sony, they have the advantage over Panasonic in terms of the value, so they could take the next step. The other aspect is what? The rarity. What's the meaning of rarity? Just take a look at the example of Dilma. There are a number of tea manufacturing companies in Sri Lanka. There are a few tea exporting companies in Sri Lanka, but Dilma leads all of them. Why? They have tea estates, 40 or 50 of them, I think around 41 of them, spread across Sri Lanka, from the high grown to the mid grown to the low grown. They are estates that they own. They have the capacity to blend it in their own tea lands to get the highest quality tea from end to end. is complete integration of the entire process from end to end under one company. So they could ensure the product quality. It's a rare thing that a Sri Lankan tea company has. Rarity. They have the advantage. How about George Stewart's? Probably Sri Lanka's oldest company, but can they compete with Dilmah on that aspect of Rarity, having a larger number of tea estates spread across key tea growing regions in Sri Lanka, from the low country to mid country to high country? They may not be that ahead in the fight with Dilmah. Dilmah may be leading on it. So what shall George Stewart's do? They should look at other things where they have the Rarity. Maybe the branding as an oldest Sri Lankan company, one of the oldest tea companies in the world, and it was there even before the tea era began in Sri Lanka. So there may be some Rarity in it. Just like the liquor industry, the wine industry, the older companies have an advantage at the marketplace. So perhaps they may be looking at that as a Rarity. So there's always a chance for every company, right? If you look harder, deeper, that you may find something that the other companies may not have. Whereas Dilmah, on the other hand, they can easily show their Rarity. No other company in Sri Lanka, maybe no other company in the world, has that kind of a practical footprint in the industry as Dilmah does, having own tea gardens, hundreds of thousands of acres, and a solid workforce, massive technological skill, and immense research and development potential, and huge capital base. Quite a lot of them are Rarity, so they could go into the imitability. What is imitability? Let's take a look. Okay, look at the example. Sunday Times. Sunday Times is read far more than any other Sunday English newspaper in the physical sense. So it basically leads the pack yards ahead, miles ahead actually. It has far better quality, far better strength in the the value of its writing. It has probably the best writing panel combined together, and it has a long history. So it's not easy to beat Sunday Times. You cannot copy that. Just like it may not be that easy to copy, not at all, right, Dilmah as a company in Sri Lanka. Sunday Times, same. It's that advantage that the company like Vijay Publications, right? That's where the Sunday Times comes from. It's one of the oldest newspapers. It was actually acquired by Vijay in the 1990s, and they reenacted as Sunday Times. So nearly 40-year history as the modern Sunday Times. Imitability, difficult to copy. What about a new newspaper like The Morning? It came in 2018 or 19. What about them? Can they compete with Sunday Times with regard to that qualities that Sunday Times have? May not be. But is it all over for Morning? No, they may look at something else, right? There's lots of reading happening online. We call it the e-papers, or the online versions of the newspapers. And there's a huge readership of Sri Lankan news abroad. We have 2 million Sri Lankans abroad. You may lose the game in the newspaper stand. Sunday Times has a far better sellability. Morning may think about something else. All right, we cannot fight them as a physical paper, but what about as a virtual newspaper? Can we have a better look of it, better design of it, better, maybe shorter articles, maybe more attractiveness in the... Sunday Times is more, laid back and standard, traditional kind of. Morning could come up with something else. So they could have to go back and reassess. What can we find as our own that others, not even Sunday Times, can copy? Right? That's the thing. If you cannot beat them into the game, find something where you can lead. Sunday Times, on the other hand, can get into the other thing if they go for the VRIO analysis. Okay, we got the imitability, we got the Rarity, we got the value. Then the next step. What is it? Organization. Now the example, cinnamon. Always value the examples rather than the theories, people. Cinnamon is not one of the oldest of hotel chains in Sri Lanka, but no other hotel chain has a physical capacities that Cinnamon has. It's pretty much spread over Sri Lanka, virtually every coastal region of value, into the mountain hill stations, into the dry zone ruins, right? Ancient cities. So it has such a strong footprint, and it's very, very strong on why it's backed up by Sri Lanka's largest public group of companies, conglomerate, John Keel. So they have cash as well as resources to use from a huge corporate body. No other company, no other hotel chain has that organization scale. So it's a clear-cut advantage for Cinnamon. Something our venerable jet-wing hotels may not have. Here I'm only making an opinion. So it's a very, very strong hotel chain. But if you can compare with Cinnamon, do they carry the same physical capacities? May not be. I'm using the word may not be. Then what shall they do? Okay, they should look at something where they have, advantage. You can go back and say perhaps, they may be better at organizing, links with their, the travel partners. Perhaps they may be better at organizing, tours to their, the visitors or the residents. They may be better at, a faster delivery of a service. So something in organization that gives them the advantage. Whatever that advantage that they find, well, that they can market in their marketing campaigns. That's what the, the companies like Jetwing should be doing against Cinnamon. Okay, Cinnamon has it. Value, rarity, imitability and organization. So VRIO is all right. So they have sustained competitive advantage. Sunday Times has it. Dilma has it. Sony has it. Others, right? Other examples I told you, they could work out, right, to find some value in it. You don't have to be of value in everything. You don't have to be rare in everything. You don't need to be imitability in everything. You have to find things where you only can do it, and you could promote it to attract, the marketplace. So that's what VRIO analysis is all about. This is how it goes. If a company has value, rare, imitability, difficulty, and organization quality, yes, all, that's long-term competitive advantage. I'll go for Sunday Times there. Dilma, definitely. Sony, no question about it, world's most popular electronics company. Okay, you got value, rarity, yes, difficult to imitate, but organization is an issue. Maybe, let's say, perhaps maybe this is a bad example, but Jetwing could be better compared to, Cinnamon. Perhaps an unused competitive advantage, yes. Value, yes, rare, yes, but imitability is a possibility. Organization, yes, temporary competitive advantage, maybe like a restaurant, right? Ability to last long. Can others copy me? Something like take Balaji candy. Value definite, rare, yes, not yet, but others can copy it. Organizational strength may be an issue. Temporary competitive advantage. Yeah, value is yes, but not rare, and the other things are not there. Example, the average shop in town, average new shop in town, they may have the competitive ability to fight equally with the others, but okay, you will not be able to lead them because you miss out on the foe. You don't have a value. That's a competitive disadvantage. So you have to work on it, right? What VRIO talks about is go back, and whenever the answer is no, go back. Identify where you can have that quality. That's the aspect of VRIO. This one. If value is not there, it's a competitive disadvantage. If rarity is not there, then you will be equal to others, because others can compete with you because you are not a rare organization. If inimitability or imitability, actually the word is imitability, right, not there, others can copy you. So it's temporary, that the advantage you are having. And yes, you don't have that organizational skill. Because of that, you may have this unused competitive advantage. That means the advantage is there, but there could be better improvement if you have the physical strength. But of course, all of it you have as yes the answer, then the sustained competitive advantage. Let's take a look at another, graph, right? See, competitive parity temporary competitive advantage, unused competitive advantage, and sustained competitive advantage. That's where we should be heading for. We could begin from value, we have to identify rarity, we have to move into inimitability or imitability, and somehow reach sustained competitive advantage. When we are there, that would give the chance to stay ahead in chosen game with the rest of the competition. Now let's take a look at an example. Okay, now what we are doing this VRIO is for, as well as the other principles, right, to improve our ability in research and analysis of organizations in our MBA studies. So when we do that, this is one example that we should be looking at. Take a look at the points that we have found out for Starbucks. Wi-Fi, internet access, say with this VRIO, right? Research and development skills, ability to raise capital, coffee brewing equipment, human resource management, coffee house setup, employee compensation, quality product mix, coffee house locations, that means shop locations, right? Employee benefits, socially responsible corporate image. So that's a very, very valuable one, right? Everyone value the company, especially the food companies are respected due to their CSR. Buying power, number of coffee houses, that matters. Bigger the footprint, bigger the chance of staying ahead, right? Propensity for innovation, that means ability to innovate. Relationship with coffee farmers, high value, Tilma has it. Customer experience, corporate leadership vision, and yes, renowned brand. See, of all the things that we have labeled up, only a couple of things, Starbucks, probably the world's most visible coffee company, has VRIO as the advantage in these things. In here, they may not be having the advantage, and here they will try their level best to get those benefits, increase their VRIO, whereas their competition may try to beat Starbucks. Perhaps here, better internet access, better research and development, maybe better coffee brewing equipment, better HR. So that way they could beat Starbucks. Starbucks, on the other hand, will try to increase its VRIO footprint. Now this one, Google, just only started in 1996, still a young company comparable to the typical companies, even the electronic or the IT-based companies. So it's definitely VRIO success, and it has sustained competitive advantage because it's a way it manages not its IT but the human capital, right? It can assess, research on, investigate on, identify the strengths of each and every employee and promote those employees to go up. Google has plenty of Indian talent, South Asian talent. A lot of Sri Lankans also could be there. So see, giving the chance to the best in the game, and they may be able to fish some really talented employees from outside as well. Value, going for value. Rarity, yeah, this data-based employee management as extensively as Google, nobody does. So it's an advantage only they have. Rare. Imitability, well, Google comes up with so many platforms, so many of them, and they've come up this far because of their immense human qualities, human talents that they have, that talent pool they have, because of their ability to identify the talent and ability to manage them. Database human capital management. And then organization. Google is organizing to capture value from this capability. Yes, the IT department has the skills to collect and maintain the data, while HR and team leaders are trained on how to use the data to hire, promote, manage, and improve performance of the employees, as well as to remove the bad guys. Right? So when you write your assignments, write assessments, when you do the research part, each principle has to be carefully discussed in this manner. Actually, in a very much in detail, right? Just passing through and just naming the analysis would not give us the desired A mark. Okay, what about the pluses in VRIO analysis? Now we know what VRIO is about: value, priority, imitability, and organization. So what is it about? What are the pluses? Yes, it forces the company, even a successful company like let's say Starbucks, can go back and find out some of their unused advantages, to find out something better. Sunday Times, definitely the leader, Rio, but you could go back and have a better electronic paper, e-paper. So it gives them the chance to go back inside, see inside of them, look for their internal resources and find something competitive, right? That's a plus, huge plus in VRIO analysis. Yeah, and it helps the future planning. We identify the resources and then project out anything, especially something like the Porter's 5 forces, right? We check everything, but we don't that much check the internal capacities of the company. Here in VRIO, what you do, you focus primarily on the internal capacities of the company, right? So it can produce insights, definitely. And yes, the current opportunities and then the potential ones. And yes, definitely it might be able to identify the threats if you have resources which are weak. Definitely setting the company strategy is important. Look at Sri Lanka tea or Ceylon tea. We have a huge advantage which we have not yet realized, because whenever it's a pandemic as severe as this, people go for health drinks. There's no health drink in this world better than tea, especially natural tea. And Ceylon tea has the world's best branding as a high quality tea. So demand for tea would be increasing over the coming months and years. This pandemic will last for a couple of years, no question about it, until we find a permanent solution, permanent vaccine. We don't have it at the moment. So all along, more than coffee, tea has the advantage. So that is a plus under VRIO, the value. And it's rare also for Ceylon tea, right? Others cannot copy it, but imitability, can we make it so good that others can't catch us? Yeah, we can. But organization is what we are missing. The government, the policymakers, the tea board, the companies, they could get together and create a better organizational network to have capacity to the best option for Sri Lanka. What about the minuses? Now take a look at it. VRIO is technically an assessment of a company on a particular given moment, and based on that only we plan the future. It could have been all right in a time like 1980s when VRIO came, right? When things didn't change as fast as it is today. But today the changes are very, very fast. So can we stop and analyze yourself for once and plan the future based on it? No, tomorrow may be different. And whatever the sustainable competitive advantage that we may be thinking that we are having could be beaten by a company just a few months ahead, because such fast is the changes in the industry. So in a fast changing environment, VRIO may have a challenge, right? And yes, can a small or a new company identify VRIO? Because the internal capacities have not been developed, so it's not easy to find it. Only a company with developed resources, developed skills, that means an older company, right, or more established company, can use VRIO. How about a small company or a new company where the strengths are just only coming up? There they have a problem. Remember these things, right, when you write your assessments. And yes, you have to go with VRIO, yeah, but back it up with something like SWOT, maybe Porter's, as well as scenario analysis. So you have to come up with a lot rather than one or two. So VRIO should not be taken alone, or for that matter no other principle should be taken alone, right? But just VRIO. So